Yo, what's up, peoples? This is Moon616 coming back at you with another 10 and 10 Volume 6. Let's get right into it. First up, got some Trauma Blood Junkie. This is actually a really fun film. Really enjoyed this. It's a throwback 80s type slasher film. You know, this was such a good time. The everything about this film, the costumes, the way it was filmed, the way it was edited, the music, the campy dialogue, and even the storyline was just simple. A couple guys pick up a couple girls, they go camping, and a bunch of shit happens. So I thought it was really enjoyable. I couldn't recommend this film enough. If you're not a fan of Trauma, I understand why people don't like Trauma, but I like the really ridiculous type of films, and this one doesn't really. I mean, it's ridiculous, but at the same time, it's really well done. The thing about this film that kind of threw me off, it probably won't be able to see it on the shitty camera, but this film is 72 minutes long. I thought it was a little short. Could have been a little longer, maybe like another 10 minutes or something, but otherwise, I couldn't recommend this film enough. I thought it was fantastic. Next up. The Return of the Living Dead 3. I hadn't watched this movie in years. I've watched 1 and 2 a lot and decided to, throw this back in, check it out. And I wasn't disappointed. It's really good. Yeah, I think the Horror Man said that it's his favorite horror movie of all time. It's an interesting choice, but, I respect that. It's a different type of storyline. It really tails off from the other two. It's a more of a zombie love story kind of, and it's about this guy, or this guy, he works for the military, and his son is dating this girl. She, long story short, has an accident, and then he reanimates her because that's what he was doing. His father's, that's what they were doing. They were, working on these zombies and stuff, and, I think it's actually really well done, and this girl is actually, the one from the OC. She's really fucking hot in this movie, just so sexy. But yeah, I thought it's a really good movie, and that's pretty much where the Return of the Living Dead movies stop being good. So if you haven't checked out 4 and 5, don't bother. They suck. Anyways, I highly recommend this film. Next up, I just showed this in an update, Shivers. I had to pop this in. I'm a really big David Cronenberg fan. I have all his films, love them all. And this is, like I said before, I think this is a really underrated film. It doesn't really get a lot of attention, maybe because it is one of his older ones. I think this is his first full-length film. This movie was really shit on by Canadian critics and stuff. It was just, it actually made it really difficult for him to get any funding and stuff. And it's kind of interesting because, this film actually got him kicked out of his apartment. So the story says. But I don't know. It's about this doctor that's, he's trying to come up with, he's working on organ kind of transplant replacement kind of deal with parasites. Fixing the problem with parasites. But then he accidentally kind of makes it so, he kind of injects them with. What is it? I guess they call it venereal diseases back then, which makes the people that are infected with this parasite super sexual and aggressive and stuff. And it's kind of like an offbeat, almost zombie movie. These people are alive, but they're acting like zombies, and it's fucking good, man. This is a really good movie. I enjoyed it. It's really good performances. I thought the gore was good. I thought some of the effects were actually really good for really not having any funding for this film, but I guess David Cronenberg did what he could, so, I recommend it if you haven't seen it. Next up, we get into this. Actually, I'll just talk about all these movies here. First up, Delirium, directed by Lamberto Bava. This is, I think, a film he did a couple years after Demons 2. It follows a woman, a model, who runs this company, this modeling company, and basically her employees, her models, her centerfold models, start dying off one by one and trying to figure out what the fuck is going on. It's not bad. It's got a shit ton of nudity in it. The main actress in it, I can't remember her name right now. She's like an Italian, she was a superstar in the 80s and 90s. Just so sexy, man. So sexy. But, it's not bad. It's definitely, Lamberto Bava's not his best work. I do recommend it, though. It was entertaining. I kind of saw what was coming, but you know, whatever. It is what it is. The last house on the house on the edge of the park. It's got David Hess in it, basically playing the same fucking character that he played in The Last House on the Left. In my opinion, it's like identical. Storyline, you know, he helps out this rich couple, and they get invited to this party and shit like that. But they've got a different agenda, and you know, it's very similar to Last House on the Park. It's kind of a ripoff. You know, him and his buddy, they're, you know, playing cards in the house. He's hitting on the girls, and, you know, fucking, and all of a sudden one thing leads to another, and some shit starts going down, and it goes all crazy and shit. And, you know, honestly, I didn't really like the movie. I thought it was shitty. I like David Hess. I really liked him in Hitchhike. I think Hitchhike is one of the most underrated fucking films, man. Fucking awesome. It's basically The Hitchhiker. It's made before it, though. I love that film so much. But anyways, getting back to this, I didn't really like it that much. I thought his friend was a fucking idiot. I don't like the movie that much, man. So whatever. We'll get into Beyond the Darkness. I really enjoyed this film. I thought this film was fucking creepy and shit, and follows this guy. He you know, his girlfriend dies, and he kind of digs her up and shit like that, and has her in the house and shit, and he's having like these weird, like, kind of incestual relations with his mom and shit. There's actually a scene in the movie where he's sucking on his mom's tits. It's fucked, man. I don't know. It's really fucking bizarre. But I don't know. Overall, the movie I thought had really good effects. It was kind of cheesy and shit, but I really like that, and you know, it has a pretty crazy climax, I guess. I don't know. It's definitely worth checking out if you're, you know, picking up this pack. This actually pack pissed me off because I thought I was getting the individual case one. This is one of those slimline ones, which I was told I was getting it, which fucking pissed me off, and I didn't get it. But this is actually the third time this has happened to me now. Actually, sorry, I lied, fourth time. So yeah, Beyond Darkness. I like Delirium. I don't recommend House on the Edge of the Park. I thought it was shitty, and Beyond Darkness is good. Into Raw Meat here. I thought this film was actually really good. You know, it's set in London. It's about you know, these people that survived this kind of I guess kind of avalanche inside this. They're working on this train set, you know, down underground and shit, and they get trapped in, and they survive over centuries, or a century or whatever, just feeding off each other and shit. And it's about this guy. He loses his wife in the film, and he's, you know, basically needs to breed, so he goes up top and shit. And I thought it was pretty good. Donald Pleasant was really good in this movie. It was entertaining. I mean, it wasn't like the best thing in the world, but I thought it was very good, though. Very good setting, though. Evil Bong. Talked a little about this. Yeah, Evil Bong. What can I say? Charles Band's. It's about this, you know, you smoke from the bong, you go to bong worlds. If you die in the bong worlds, you know, it kind of gives the bong more power and stuff. And it's really the extent of the storyline. It's actually kind of funny because there's not really much to it. It's cheesy, stupid. The hero is Tommy Chong. What can I say? You know, it's fucking Evil Bong. The other ones are even more ridiculous, in my opinion, but you know, this movie's fun. If you're a fan of Full Moon films, I definitely recommend it. You know, I can't say anything bad about Full Moon, but it's definitely definitely a step in a weird direction for Charles Band, in my opinion. Speaking of some more Full Moon, I recently watched Gingerdead Man 3. This movie's definitely the worst of the three. I hadn't watched it in a while. I saw it when it first came out. I think this movie is 2010. Yeah, so it would have been like, you know, a year and a half or two. When I first watched it, I wasn't really paying attention to it, to be honest, but this movie's ridiculous. The Gingerdead Man breaks out of this insane asylum, and for some reason there's a time machine in the insane asylum or whatever, and it takes him back to 1976. Yep. In the heyday of roller fucking disco, and you know, he starts killing some people and shit. It's kind of ridiculous, but I don't know, it's actually really bad. Like, some of the lines were kind of funny, but you know, I don't know, I guess I recommend, if you're a fan of these movies, definitely check it out. If you've seen 1 and 2, definitely check it out, because it's worth it, I guess, but you know, whatever. And on to the Unholy. Yeah, this movie is actually quite good. It's about this guy right here. He's a priest, and he basically moves into this, or takes over in this church because the previous priests have been murdered, and he believes that it's kind of that it's not possessed and stuff. People are saying it's possessed. He says it's not. He says it's very spiritual and shit like that, and it's a religious type film, and it's good. I thought it was pretty decent. I thought the ending was good. But like, these are the type of movies that a lot of people don't like, because I find that people don't like these religious type movies, because I've got a buddy that he's a really, really big fan of horror movies, but he doesn't like The Exorcist. And I was like, wow, that's interesting. But so, if you're one of those people that doesn't really like, religious type kind of themed horror movies, like, The Exorcist and stuff, definitely don't check this out. But I thought it was good for what it was, and I like the atmosphere, I like the setting, I thought the effects were good. Whatever, I do recommend it. It's The Unholy. It's just part of those infamous Lions 8-packs. But yeah, anyways, I ran over time on this one, talking too much, I just noticed. But anyways, that's another 10 in 10, Volume 6, and Mood 616. Thanks for watching and subscribing, and I'll be back with some more videos later on. Peace.